أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. ثم ما بعد. قال الله عز وجل في سورة المؤمنون: والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين، فمن ابتغى وراء ذلك فأولئك هم العادون. Allah, mighty and majestic, Allah Azza wa Jal, states in Surah Al-Mu'minun, and they who guard their private parts, except for their wives or what the right hand possesses, for indeed they will not be blamed. But whoever seeks beyond that, then those are the transgressors. I want to mention these ayat from Surah Al-Mu'minun because it highlights the importance of guarding chastity, which then implies the importance of neglecting temptation. There's two types of temptations I want to talk about in this khutbah. And the first one I want to bring up is an important one, the temptation of lust. Surah Al-Mu'minun is an important surah for the believers because it highlights the qualities of a believer. What does Surah Al-Mu'minun say about a believer? قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. A believer stays humble in prayer, maintains their prayer. A believer avoids unnecessary conversations, avoids idle talk. A believer pays his zakat. And what else does a believer do? A believer guards his private parts. It's obligatory, it's not an option. If you want to fit the qualities of a believer, you have to guard your private parts. Lust is a huge test for both men and women. But for men, they have it a little bit harder because the human nature for men, they love to look. Men love to look at beauty. And it doesn't help when women want to be looked at. Women love to beautify themselves. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows His creation very well. And He sent down an ayah to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam to help us out. قال الله عز وجل في سورة النور قل المؤمنين يغضوا من أبصارهم ويحفظوا فروجهم ذلك أزكى لهم إن الله خبير بما يصنعون. O Prophet, tell the believing men to lower their gaze and guard their chastity. That is pure for them. Surely Allah is all aware of what you do. You have to lower your gaze. Then you won't fall into these temptations. You won't fight your desires so often. Now, let's say you do lower your gaze. What now? We still need to relieve ourselves. We're human. And this question was actually brought up to Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam from the Sahaba. They asked him, O Prophet, we want to relieve ourselves. What do we do? And in Sahih Bukhari wa Muslim, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam responded, O young men, those among you who could support a wife should marry, for it restrains the eyes and preserves chastity. But those who cannot should fast. It will be a restraint for them. If you're in that awkward stage, you're in university, or you're not financially stable yet, turn to fasting as an option, brothers and sisters. Turn to fasting as an option. It will be a shield. When sin tries to come reach you, it will be a barrier between you and the sin. And Ramadan is coming. As we all heard, it's good to plant the seed of Ramadan in the preceding month. In Sha'ban, in Rajab. It's good to practice for Ramadan. It's good to lower the sins that we used to do. It's good to try fasting Monday and Thursday. It's like a 3-in-1. You're lowering your libido, you're lowering your lust, you're practicing for Ramadan, and it's Sunnah. The Prophet used to fast Monday and Thursday. Imagine going to the gym, or going to school without studying for a test, or going to the gym without preparing, without warming up. What will happen? If you don't warm up, you're going to injure something. If you don't study for the test, you won't do as good as if you did study. This is like Ramadan. Start preparing. Start preparing. Start trying to fast every Monday and Thursday. Start trying to lower the amount of sins you're doing. Ramadan is only 22 days away. Now I want to look at a special story with the special prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. Yusuf alayhi salam was a very handsome man. And Zuleika, the wife of the chief minister of Egypt at the time, she was very obsessed with him, and her desires got the best of her. She was married to this man called Al-Aziz. They used to call him Al-Aziz the Great. This is not any random woman. And one day Al-Aziz, he had to go run an errand one day. And he left, he trusted his wife with Yusuf alayhi salam in his palace. Yusuf alayhi salam and Zuleika were alone in the palace. And she locked all the doors, made sure no one was watching. And what does she do next? She tries to seduce Yusuf alayhi salam. She says, come you. How many people, how many men will fall for this test? This is not any random woman. This is the wife of the chief minister of Egypt. If you were in a locked palace with her, and you knew no one was watching, and she said, come you, what would you say? Almost all men will fail this test. Except the disciplined one, the one with high Iman. And the only way to pass this test is if you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look what Yusuf alayhi salam said to her. Qala ma'adallah. I seek refuge in Allah. Innahu rabbi ahsana mathwaya innahu la yuflihu adh-dhalimun. Indeed, wrongdoers will not succeed. He said, I seek refuge in Allah. It was just him and her in there. No one else. Look at the level of Iman Yusuf alayhi salam has. We should learn from Yusuf alayhi salam. Try to become pious men. To the point where he would make a dua against himself. He said, oh Allah, I would rather be in prison than seduced by these women. How many of us could make this dua? This is such a strong dua. But how many of us could make that dua? And notice how Yusuf alayhi salam chose the halal way and neglected the haram way. There's another story of Ali radiallahu anhu with his riding animal. He takes this animal from point A to point B, and one day while he was walking with this animal, he had to pray in the masjid. And he needed someone to watch this animal. So he saw a passerby and he said, "Assalamu alaikum, can you watch my animal for me?" The man said, "Okay." Ali radiallahu anhu went inside the masjid, he prayed, and when he came back outside, he saw his animal there, but the saddle that goes on the animal when you ride it, it was missing. And the man was missing too. And instead he saw another man in the corner with another riding animal with the same saddle he had on his animal. So the logical conclusion was, did this man take my saddle? What happened? So he goes up to question this man. "Sir, where did you get this saddle from? It used to be on my animal." The man said, "Someone sold it to me. Someone over there." He was referring to Ali radiallahu anhu's animal. He was referring to him. He said, "Someone standing over there, he sold me the saddle." Ali radiallahu anhu put two and two together. Instead of watching my animal, he sold my saddle to this other guy. So Ali radiallahu anhu asked, "How much did you pay for it?" He said, 2 silver coins. "I paid 2 silver coins for the saddle." That's when Ali radiallahu anhu walked away shocked. He said, he thought to himself, "Subhanallah, I was going to give the man that watched my animal 2 silver coins anyways. I was going to give him 2 silver coins anyways when he walked out. When I was going to walk out the masjid, if he was still there, I was going to pay him." But notice how the man chose the haram way. Everything is predestined for you, brothers and sisters. A halal way is there for you. Why are you being impatient? Why are you rushing and choosing the haram way? And this isn't only about 2 silver coins. This is about the boy you like, the girl you like. Why are you wasting your time talking to a haram talking stage or a haram person you like when you know you're going to get heartbroken in the end? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already has a predestined spouse for you. Or if you're in a haram business, why are you wasting your time doing transaction with this haram money? Allah has your wealth predestined for you. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إنك لن تدع شيئا لله عز وجل إلا بدلك الله به ما هو خير لك منه. Subhanallah. If you give up something for the sake of Allah, Allah will replace it with something better for you. It may be hard to get rid of that haram relationship, to get rid of those haram friends, the haram wealth. This is a sahih hadith. If you give up something for the sake of Allah, just look at the reward Allah will give you in the future. And if these types of hadiths don't touch your heart, your lack of love for the Prophet ﷺ might not be there. On the day of judgment, when everyone is running around scared, they're going to Adam alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam, all the prophets. Please make a dua for us, we're scared. What are they going to say? Go to the other prophet, nafsi, nafsi. They're going to care about themselves. Nafsi, nafsi, me. I'm scared for myself today. And then when you go to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, you'll say, ummati, ummati. The Prophet loves us. And we have to love him too. You have to take his hadith seriously. Now I want to talk about another 2 ayahs. From Surah Al-Furqan, ayah 15, it says, "Is this better or the garden of eternity? Say, O Prophet, is this better or the garden of eternity which the righteous have been promised? Is this sin you're going to commit, is it better than paradise? That look you're going to give to that girl, is it better than paradise? The clothes you're going to wear, immodestly, showing off, is it better than paradise?" And the funny thing is, I'll put this into perspective. If someone walks up to you and offers you $10 million, quit that sin, quit listening to music, quit doing this, quit doing this. By the next day, you'll become a whole new man. $10 million, this could change my life. I'll become a whole new man. But then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala offers Jannah, that's where we hesitate. That's where we hesitate. I want to listen to music one more day. I want to talk to her one more day. Jannah is on the line in ayah 16 of Surah Al-Furqan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, they will have whatever they wish for. How can you pass that up? And that is a promise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making a promise in this ayah. you will have whatever you wish for. In paradise, when every time you look at your spouse, she will look more beautiful every look. Imagine that. And your husband, you'll look more handsome every time you look at them. How can you pass this up for a look that, what will happen when you look at that girl 30 seconds later? What do you gain from it? You don't gain anything. In paradise, every time you take a bite out of a fruit, it will taste better than the previous bite. The fruit here isn't like the fruit in Jannah. There will be rivers of milk, rivers of wine, rivers of honey, rivers of water. All of this is mentioned in Surah Muhammad. How can you pass this up for a silly temptation? You have to fight your nafs. Don't indulge yourself too much in the dunya. بَلْ تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. People would prefer this world, even though the hereafter is far better, longer lasting. Why indulge yourself in these 70 years? What is 70 years? What were we 100 years ago? What were we 100 years ago? What will we become in 100 years? What is this life? Why are you falling into temptation? Our main goal, brothers and sisters, is to hear these words on the Day of Judgment. ادخلوا الجنة أنتم وأزواجكم تحبرون. Enter paradise, you and your spouses, delighted. Imagine the scene. Nur on your face, nur on your child's face, nur on your spouse's face, on your wife's face. You guys are all delighted. You guys are all rejoicing, happy to go into Jannah. You passed the test. You passed the dunya. May Allah grant us paradise with our spouses and our children. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في صحيح حديث: من صلى يرائي فقد أشرك ومن صام يرائي فقد أشرك ومن تصدق يرائي فقد أشرك. وكذلك قال محمد عليه الصلاة والسلام: إنما الأعمال بالنيات. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says in two sahih hadith, whoever prays to show off has committed shirk. Whoever fasts to show off has committed shirk. And whoever gives charity to show off has committed shirk. And likewise, he also said, actions are judged by intention. Another temptation I want to talk about is the temptation of showing off. It's human nature to want to show off. Why would we want to appear down here when we can appear up here, right? And we want to appear better than the person next to us. But it gets to a point where people put their showing off into their religion. And this is very, very, very dangerous. Borderline riyah, borderline shirk. And if you know anything about shirk, if you die upon it without repenting, it's one of those sins Allah won't forgive, and you'll be in hellfire. And shaitan, he's very smart. He'll do anything to stop you from entering paradise. If he can't stop you from praying, he'll make you pray for the people. He'll make your intention to pray to impress everyone else in the community. If he can't stop you from giving charity, he'll make you give charity only when other people are looking, so people can call you the generous one. And there's a very scary hadith that backs us up that actually talks about this. On the first people that are judged on the Day of Judgment. A martyr, he goes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment. He thinks he got martyred for Allah, but on the Day of Judgment, he'll say, oh Allah, I died for you. I was martyred for you. Excuse me. I was martyred for you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, kadhabt, you lied. You were martyred so people can call you courageous. And people did call him courageous. But his intention was dying for the people. And another man. Oh, by the way, this man, he'll be dragged across his face. It says in the hadith, he'll be dragged across his face until he goes into the hellfire. Another man. He acquired tons of knowledge. Memorized the Quran, taught hadith, recited the Quran. He says, oh Allah, I did this for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, kadhabt. You did this so people will call you the learned one, the reciter. Imagine reciting Quran, memorizing all of these surahs over your life. And then on the day of judgment, you find out your intention was wrong, and now you're going to the hellfire. You're dragged across your face until you go into the hellfire. Another man. A man who Allah blessed him with tons of wealth. He tells Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's not a street that I cross that I do not give charity to. I always give charity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, kadhabt. You only gave charity so people will call you the generous one. Throw him into the hellfire. Drag him across his face until he goes into the hellfire. إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا. We only feed you for the cause of Allah. For Allah, we don't feed you for the people. We don't need any reward from you. We don't need any thanks. This money, this food, is only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And wanting to show off also builds arrogance. It builds arrogance. And do you think you can enter paradise with arrogance? The Prophet ﷺ actually answered this. He said, anyone with the atom's weight of arrogance in his heart will not enter paradise. You know how small an atom is? You virtually can't have any arrogance in your heart. You can't have any ego. You can't have pride. You can't think you're better than anybody else. Walk with your head down and say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everybody. The true servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are the ones that walk on this earth humbly. And when someone foolish, someone ignorant, tries to test them, they just reply with salam, with peace. And these aren't my words. وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. These are the true servants of the most compassionate. And I want to mention a story about an Egyptian man that will show you the importance of not looking down on anyone, because you don't know anybody's ending. Now one day this Egyptian man, he had a dream. He had a dream that he saw his next door neighbor in Umrah with him. He saw that he took his next door neighbor to Umrah. And when you have a dream the first time, you kind of brush it off. What is this? I don't even know this man. Now the second night he had the dream. Very detailed dream. Take this man to Umrah. And the man said, okay, why am I having this dream twice? And it's very detailed. So he takes it to the Imam to interpret the dream. He said, Ya Shaykh, did you see this man in the Masjid at all? None of them seen, and no one has seen this man in the Masjid. But the Shaykh advised, I think you should knock on the door and take him to Umrah. Now the third night, he's seen the dream again. He said, okay, this is the night I will talk to him and take him to Umrah. Now, he knocks on the door, his wife answers, he sees Ammu in the back. Salamu alaikum Ammu. I saw a dream, he told him about the dream. Come to Umrah with me, I'll pay for everything. I'll pay for the expenses, the ride, I'll pay for everything. The man said, I don't even know how to pray. The Egyptian man said, I'll teach you how to pray. But before you pray, you have to make wudu. The man said, I don't even know how to make wudu. Look at this, the man is 40, 50 years old, never prayed, let alone never knew how to make wudu. And the man said, I'll teach you how to make wudu. So they went to Umrah, and for 3 days, they would go to the haram, they would pray, and go back to their hotel. And during the night when everyone's asleep, the man that never worshipped Allah before, the man that didn't know how to make wudu, he would sneak out and pray in the haram and come back. Now one of these nights, the man never came back. So they went searching for him. The Egyptian man went searching for him. And guess where he found him? Guess where he found this man? He found him passed away in the sajda position, in the haram. A man that hasn't prayed or made wudu in 40, 50 years had a blessed death. What gives you the right to look down on people? What gives you the right to judge people? You don't know anyone's ending. And then they went to his wife. He said, "Why? How did this man have such a good ending? What did he do in his free time?" The wife said, he gave a portion of his salary to this old lady. He gave charity secretly. And the lady would make dua, may Allah give this man a blessed ending. Brothers and sisters, don't fall for this dunya's pleasure. Death and life once had a conversation. Death asked life, Why do people hate me and love you? Why do people hate me, life, and love you? Why do they hate me? And life responded, because death, you're a painful truth, while I'm a beautiful lie. This world is a beautiful lie. الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. Don't indulge yourself into this dunya too much. In 70 years, we will all be in the same position. The Prophet ﷺ says, be in this world as if you were a stranger or a traveler passing through. Imagine you're a stranger at a university or at a school. What will you do? You go in, get your good grades, get out. You won't mess with the haram party, the haram friends, you won't talk to that girl, you won't talk to that boy. We need to be in this dunya the same way. Go in, fulfill your needs as a Muslim, fulfill your obligations, and we will all depart, and we will all have the same resting place. Umar radiallahu anh further advises, when evening comes, do not expect to live until the morning. And when morning comes, don't expect to live until the evening. Take from your health before your illness and your life before your death. And I like this analogy. Because when we're healthy, and then we get sick, we're saying, I took it for granted. I wish I can breathe through my nostril again. I wish I can drink water without my throat hurting again. This is the same way between life and death. When we're alive, we don't really think about dying. And then once we die, we're like, oh Allah, I want to go back 2 more rak'ahs, please. Let me give charity 1 more time, please. Why don't we do that now? Why don't we give the charity now? Why don't we pray now? But remember, when you pray and give the charity, have the intention for Allah and not the other people. Don't make your actions wasted just because you wanted to impress someone. Brothers and sisters, to conclude, I want to remind you, lower your gaze, control your desires, and decrease your arrogance. Only intend to please Allah and not the creation. Do not let shaitan misguide you. O Allah, forgive our sins, both the small and the great, the first and the last, the open and the hidden. O Allah, have mercy on us, guide us, and make us steadfast on your path. O Allah, keep the people of Palestine, Syria, and all the oppressed brothers and sisters steadfast, and grant us victory, O God. O Allah, accept our prayers and grant us the best in this life and the hereafter. Allahumma atina fi dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhab an-nar wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad. Ameen wa aqim as-salat.